any questions for the Chairman of Armed Services?
I'm sure that Jeff can answer.
I'm sure there's one. Yeah, Paul?
Congressman, thank you very much for taking time out to come here.
I'm deaf.
I'm sorry, Congressman. Thank you so much for taking time out to come here. Retired man of Paul Gunner. I'm interested in the red portion of the graphics, the required spending. We always hear that with the inference for us that, well, that's untouchable. Yet there are programs in there that congressional action then could reduce. It's not just discretionary spending.
Can you repeat that, Paul?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, Congressman. Within the red area, the required area of spending, and as opposed to the green discretionary spending, we always have that implication, thus our inference, that that's untouchable. We cannot address that. Yet in that area, can't congressional action then address minimizing some of that?
If I said we can't touch it, I left the wrong impression. I'm saying we must touch it. We just are not showing the political will to do it. Now, I know when I'm a Republican, when we won the majority in 2010, Speaker Boehner felt like that was the ideal time with divided government to address those issues. Just as Reagan and Tip O'Neill did in the 80s. And they were able to stretch out Social Security for many years. If you look at the trustees for Social Security right now, they tell you it only was going to last for a few more years. But the politicians don't want to address those serious issues because people get upset if you talk about taking away something that they feel is their God-given right, okay? The thing is, when Social Security was first written, people like my grandfather, he worked all of his life, turned 65, I think got his first Social Security check and then died. Now, unfortunately, we're living much longer. Unfortunately, unless you're somebody like me that's 75 and thinks that's all right. But the facts of life are we're living longer, we're enjoying better health, and that wasn't in the plan when it was first passed. And in the 50s, we had about 16 people paying in to Social Security for everyone drawing benefits. It's down now to less than 3. It doesn't take a genius. Even I can figure that out, but that is not sustainable. It cannot go forever. When we get down to 1-to-1, do we have anybody here that's like in their 30s or 40s or 50s? You should be very worried. Guys like me, it doesn't really much matter, you know. We'll still keep getting it because we're still going to have a few people that are paying in. But it's not a good situation, and it should be addressed, and that would be relatively easy to fix. Medicare, a little tougher, but there are things that we could do, and we should do it. What I'm saying is we're doing all the fighting on things that are a very small part of the problem. And if you totally eliminate the discretionary spending, you still got the problem. So why don't we have to fight over something where we can actually fix the problem? It's easy for me to say that I'm retiring.
Sir, if I could, with a follow-up, would you mentioned some very popular programs that in the red area. I'm wondering about the ones that might be engender more ready debate. Which of those colors does the Affordable Care Act fall into? Is that a red area?
I'm going to redirect a little bit because I want to focus on BRAC as it relates to Ventura County.
You're exactly right.
BRAC as it relates to Ventura County. So let's redirect a little bit. Maybe if I can pose a question of my own, and that is, Chairman, you did congressional delegations. In fact, I was deployed to Afghanistan when you came through the congressional delegation. And you go around to different communities throughout America and visit bases and visit communities. Can you tell us if you're seeing communities getting organized? Are they hiring lobbyists or lobbyists moving through the halls of Congress right now? And if so, what communities do you see, or what are they doing, and how are they getting organized? And I think there are some areas like Dayton, Ohio, is just perpetually organized and defending what assets they have and tracking things. So I just want to throw that out and see how you respond to that.
Good. There are communities that are getting organized. But I haven't been to anything that's been like this. So I think you're at least in the top part of the game. There are others around the country that are starting to gear up. They're starting to think about it because, like I say, the administration asked us to do a BRAC in the last budget. They asked us again this year. The problem is, if you do a BRAC, say you do it, and you do it successfully, the way it was outlined, the way it was set up was to take politics out of it and to have it focus on what would be best for the nation. Assuming we do have surplus land, surplus bases. And the first time it worked out fairly well, but they have not been able to show us any savings that have been generated from the BRACs that have happened. And the last BRAC is not even finished yet, and they can't show us the savings. So what happens, you end up, if you pass a BRAC, the last one became very politicized, because just what you're talking about. People get organized, they hire lobbyists, it becomes a political football. And so there's always, when that happens, you have winners and losers, and you end up spending money to close bases and not seeing the savings till many years later, if at all. And so it started out as a great idea. It hasn't matured into that because it has become just a political football.
We're going to take one last question. Nancy?
Yes, I was just going to ask if the elimination of earmarks has had any effect on the defense budget.
No, not really. We found a way that when I'm one that believes we should have earmarks, and that I read in the Constitution that Congress is supposed to spend the money. And what happens when you take earmarks away, that was the chance. The way earmarks work, we would pass a budget, and then the budget would give those numbers to the appropriators, and then the appropriators would take a small portion, maybe 5% of their overall spending, and set that aside for, talk to congressmen. The way I did it in my district, I would meet with the city leaders, and I would ask them what they wanted. If I could get any money, then I would go fight for that. So it worked out that we send our tax money to Washington, and we get a small portion of it back into our district. Because of the bridge to nowhere, everything got a bad connotation that earmarks were just wasting money and throwing it away. So now bureaucrats spend the whole thing. Elected people have no say, at least in the House. The Senate, I understand, still does do some earmarks. But that hasn't affected the overall budget. What has affected the budget is that our spending has gone up so rapidly. In the last 5 years, we've almost doubled our debt. And that's the trajectory. So a lot of people came to Washington, and in 2010, when we campaigned, we said, we will cut everything. If we get the majority, we'll cut everything but Homeland Security and national defense. A bunch of freshmen came to town and said, no, everything's on the table. And since then, we've cut $1 trillion out of defense. So there wasn't a tie really between earmarks and the overall spending. It was just the need to get our spending under control.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's an honor.
Hey, keep up the good work. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your service to the community and to the nation. We have Bill Brown will come back up.